And welcome to Flamecast. I'm Todd Letts.
I am Todd Pletz. I am Wes Swingley.
Ha ha ha.
God, hilarious.
Yeah, we're a little bit late on this one because, well, I'm not really sure why. Usually the last few that we've done, it's usually been around the end of each month, and we're like into the beginning of the next month, so.
That's not bad.
Yeah, well, I think part of it was I wanted to give some people time to see one of the movies that we're going to talk about. So.
Yeah, and a few more coming out at the end of the month, too. We gotta get a Flamecast in early next month with all the things coming in.
Yeah. Okay, and speaking of movies, I have received some horrible news, like what was it? About a week ago, a little over a week ago, because it was Friday, the day that Infinity War is supposed to come out. For all the praise that I've given MoviePass,
Right.
and maybe you've heard about this.
Oh, yeah, MoviePass.
Oh my god. So disregard everything I said, and if you have them, you might want to consider dropping them, like I have. Because, they upgraded their terms of service
Right.
on that Friday, and you can no longer do repeat viewings of movies, which is one of the main reasons I got the thing in the first
Right,
place.
that's very much a Todd thing. Yeah, it doesn't
It's-
affect me as much, because I don't tend to repeat movies, but it's still idiotic.
Yeah, and okay, so you've got to see. For me, I'm going to matinees most of the time, so it's $5-6 a pop. So going 2 times, I'm kind of breaking even.
Well, we have the problem here that our local theater remodeled. I may have mentioned this before. Our local theater remodeled and put in a bunch of nice reclining seats, but they
Right.
cut most of their screens down to like 50 seats or 60 seats.
Right.
So I haven't been able to go to any first run movies using MoviePass. And in fact, Infinity War I just paid normally for my ticket.
Did they do reserve seating?
They do reserve seating, and I
Wow.
can't do reserve seating through MoviePass except for I think one theater chain.
That's
which
true.
is
That's
not
true.
this one.
And who knows
So-
how long that'll last.
Yeah, and I kind of was waiting to see if they would add more theater chains because ours is an AMC here. But I think AMC is the one that they've been fighting with the most.
Yeah.
So it'll probably never happen. So I'm probably going to be ditching mine soon as well.
Yeah, and the other thing I heard was that, what was it? It was no longer one movie per day. It was like 4 movies per month.
For new people, for new subscribers. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I ended up canceling the thing before. Maybe they've got the terms of service out there online somewhere, but
I think everybody was
I don't know.
not too surprised that it seemed too good to be true, and kind of seems like it is.
I guess. But
It was fun while it lasted.
damn it.
You can just think of how many movies you watched while you had it.
Yeah. It did get me to 10 viewings of The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
So, yeah, my cancellation actually takes effect. I think it's the 17th of this month.
Is that the day before Deadpool?
Yeah, I think Deadpool is like June 1st or something like that. June 2nd.
No, I think I just saw it. No, Deadpool's May 18th, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
I know they've got
May 18th, sir.
Oh, they pushed it up then. What the hell?
I don't know. Maybe they had something they were competing with.
Maybe they don't want to be in the wake of Solo, the
Yeah,
Star
I
Wars
can't
story.
imagine. I don't necessarily think it's going to do terribly well.
That looks like it's going to be a good movie, though. But
who knows? Who knows? I think everybody's very nervous for Solo.
I'm not. I'm going to enjoy it. So, yeah, what the heck with MoviePass? Well, I guess we can get right into looking at some of these movies that have come out recently.
Yeah.
So, yeah, speaking of Avengers Infinity War, okay, you've seen it, right?
I have.
All right, thank God. You did get to it. So, yeah, some things happened that I thought would happen, and some people are alive that I thought would be gone. So it's kind of like a mixed bag.
Well,
so there was still some surprises in there.
I mean, certainly before we say anything, you should spoiler alert.
We're gonna spoil the crap out of this one. I did not say the word, so there we go.
Yeah.
So just so you're warned.
Yeah, this is a movie that you can't really talk about without the spoiling, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
And I think the spoiling at the end, the big spoiler, is probably, I think, not the spoiler that people should worry about, right? The spoiler really, I think, is Gamora.
Yeah. But
I was a little frustrated.
There's things that I think we can kind of assume that they're going to get away with. Anyone that's killed by other means, besides the Infinity Gauntlet,
Right.
I think are actually going to be deceased, except for Gamora.
Yeah, Gamora, because she sacrificed herself for the Soul Stone. You think?
Yeah, so
that'll save her.
They needed a swap, so her soul is still there in the Soul Stone's place.
Yeah.
So they'll be able to get her back, and there's going to be another Guardians of the Galaxy movie. So,
of course.
And
I hope Loki stays dead. Sorry, Tom Hiddleston, but you can only come back so many times.
Yeah, I wouldn't count him out. Just like Thor, he seemed a little concerned, but not too concerned. He's like, he's done this before.
Do you think, future spoiler, what do you think about Nebula swapping her soul for Gamora?
I mean, I guess it's possible.
Yeah, seems. We don't know if Nebula's alive. I presume she is.
Yeah, I was just thinking that the other day. I'm like, I need another viewing of this movie to keep track of where some of these characters ended up.
Some of them they didn't show. I know they didn't show everybody. Speaking of who's alive and dead, I have a website for you to go to.
Oh, to see if you yourself is...
Yes. Did you do it?
Yes, I did. I'm dead.
I'm dead too. Well, we're enjoying each other's company in the Soul Stone then.
There we go.
I even tried it on 2 different devices and I died on both of them.
Yeah.
Friggin' Mariah lived. Jerk.
I mean, I haven't seen too many people do it, but from what I've seen so far, it seems to be a split along male or female.
Yeah. No, one of my good friends who went to Infinity War with me is a female, and she died, and her boyfriend also lived, so...
Oh, okay. Well, there goes that theory.
Yeah. Well,
I guess it's 50-50, so...
Speaking of that, that friend is very annoyed that the movie's random death is the least random thing that has ever happened. Like, if there's, 2 vaguely Eastern European people, one of them dies, one of them doesn't. Nat Black Widow survives, Scarlet Witch does not. And all of these, cases of one person surviving, one person not, that are kind of similar roles.
Yeah. I don't get too hung up on it myself, I guess.
Well, and Guardians of the Galaxy got hosed.
Oh yeah,
They have Rocket. Is Rocket the only one left?
yeah, I believe so.
And the original Avengers made it through unscathed, which seems to be the whole point, I guess.
Yeah. So you wonder what happened with Hawkeye, and
I'm sure he's alive.
well, someone had suggested that maybe his family got wiped out, so and he's alive, so
Right, right.
he's out for revenge type thing.
Yeah, that sounds likely. Well, and I really wish I would have respected incredibly the writers of this movie if they had said, okay, we're going to kill half the people at the end of the movie. Get out your dice. Here we go. And, and then made their people that are going to die and then have to, deal with writing the sequel with what they get.
Oh, that's true.
I think that would have made it creative and interesting rather than probably predefining who was going to live and who was going to die.
Yeah. Well, I guess it is what it is. So, and then we have to wait a year.
Yeah, it's going to be a long wait.
At
Well,
least it's a year.
The other question, too, is what do you think happened to Thanos when he snapped? Something's wrong with him. So his arm is all messed up, and of course the gauntlet is, crushed as well.
Yeah, it almost seemed like, is this a one-time use thing? Or...
It seemed like it's a one-time use. Maybe the other question that people had was, how does Thanos know that he wouldn't have died? Which I guess he probably didn't care.
I guess he didn't care.
I wonder if that, what happened to him is maybe he half died. Maybe he's 50%.
I don't know. Maybe having the gauntlet makes you immune to it.
Possible. That seems cheesy, though. That's very
I mean,
politician-y.
you're the one that's kind of giving the judgment. So, yeah, I don't know.
Something happened to him. I'm sure that's going to come into play with how they win. But
yeah.
Anything else? Any other thoughts other than the major end spoiler?
That was pretty much it. I mean,
Peter Dinklage, were you surprised?
I guess I had heard something that he was going to be in this one, but it was just a blurb like a few months ago,
Right.
and I kind of forgot the whole thing. And then I'm like, is he playing the part of what's his name from Days of Future Past, or it wasn't?
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't Days of the Future Past. It was one of the
I
other
know
ones.
you're talking about. I can't remember his name.
It wasn't First Class.
Yeah.
But
Well,
the one with
my entire theater.
oh, it was Days of Future Past, wasn't it?
My
Because it
entire
was
theater,
Sentinels.
as when he
Anyways,
did. Kind of everybody laughed when he turned around.
yeah, it was like, okay, a giant dwarf.
That's yeah.
It's like, oh, that's kind of.
I give it to Chris Hemsworth. I think Thor did some of the best acting in this movie.
Yeah.
The scene with Rocket where he's like telling all of the things that he's lost.
Yeah.
Really good.
Keeps calling him the rabbit.
The rabbit. Well, and it's even better when you think that scene with Rocket was a scene of Chris Hemsworth with himself, right? It's not like he had another actor to play off of.
Well, yeah. Well, no, they do stick someone in for Rocket.
Sometimes.
Kind of. Yeah.
You think he had Bradley Cooper in there? But yeah, it was altogether good. I heard one criticism that I totally agree with, that the Wakanda battle thing was, I think, kind of stupid.
How so?
It was very much somebody. I can't get it out of my brain now if I ever see it again. Somebody said that it reminded them of the Episode 1 Naboo battle. It was just kind of like a big overhead, little things running into little things battle that was not all that compelling.
Uh, I mean, I suppose.
It wasn't all that interesting. I think there were individual components of it that were interesting, and it was usually just based on, Black Widow kicking ass, or Thor coming in, and these little vignettes within it. But the whole battle itself was kind of odd.
Yeah, I think most of it was supplemented well with, um, like Vision trying to get repaired and
Eventually, yeah.
so things like that. But yeah, when Thor came in and started kicking butt,
Yeah, that was very nice.
that was the nice part. I'm like, yeah, Thor's gonna take some
The other thought that
people
I
out.
had in that scene that I'm curious if it goes anywhere is I really wonder whether those monsters that were there are related at all to Venom. They
Hmm.
Their heads really look like Venom, and somebody commented on their teeth, which is a very sort of like pointed, Venom-y sounding line.
Hmm. Well, I guess I'm gonna have to do a repeat viewing without
I
MoviePass, I guess.
I know I've been thinking about going with my MoviePass, but our stupid theater here has just gone totally to crap. Like, not only do we have this problem with not enough showings, when we went to Infinity War, on Saturday, they had, I kid you not, 2 showings of Infinity War. 2
Two?
on the Saturday
Oh
of its
my
opening weekend.
gosh.
And then on Sunday, they had like 6. I don't know what is wrong with this theater. And even now during the week, we don't have any showtimes before 4 p.m.
That's just odd.
It's really annoying.
Huh.
And this is new. They just started this like a month ago. They used to have 10 a.m., 11 a.m. showings every day.
Hmm.
Anyway, yeah, so I do want to see it again as well.
Well, one other movie I did see was Ready Player One.
Oh, Ready Player One.
Have you seen this one?
I hated it so much.
Okay, now let me ask you this. Have you read the book?
Yes, I love the book.
Okay, there we go.
I've read the
Because
book twice.
every single person that has had complaints about the movie have been people that have read the book. But if you have not read the book and just go in with a clean slate, it's a decent movie.
I don't even know if it's a decent movie. There are so many things in it that are abjectly idiotic that it's hard to get over. Namely, the most memorable
Okay.
one at the very end of the movie. Sorry, spoiler for anybody. It doesn't matter. It's a stupid thing that I'm spoiling.
It's already out of the theaters here, so.
Exactly. But the main bad guy, why am I forgetting his name?
Director Krennic.
Yes, Krennic. He goes after them with a gun at the end of the movie, and then there's this whole crowd of people, and you're like, oh, hey, the crowd's going to stop him from killing them. No, he just gets up to them and he's like, no, I guess I'm not going to do it. What? What? How is that the big climax of the movie? Him just getting all the way up there and going, no, I'm not going to shoot him.
I
That was so dumb.
I think it was more of a point of, he was curious to find out what was happening himself before he actually, started firing bullets into him.
But he like,
And when he saw what happened, then he's like, kind of like he got it, type of a deal. But
I don't think they sold that at all. Like, he drove across an entire city. The other problem I have, a big problem, and obviously a book has a lot more room to do a lot, and a movie has to compress things down.
Right.
And so there are some choices I get that you have to make them shorter. But why? Why
Okay.
would you convert a set of characters who all know each other in this virtual world, who don't know each other in real life? There are 4 different sets of people, right?
Yeah.
And in the movie, they all happen to live in Columbus, Ohio. What a big coincidence.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you have to suspend some disbelief there.
But that would have been like a 4 seconds of the movie. Oh, yeah, we just drove in from Seattle. There you go. Done.
Yeah.
How hard is that?
Yeah.
I mean, it was things like that that just made me hate the movie because there were changes from the book that I don't care if you change certain things, and shorten things, but there were things that they changed that fundamentally make no sense from something that made sense in the book to something that makes no sense. To me, it reminded me a lot of another fantastic book and even more god-awful, unwatchable movie, World War Z, where the only thing that the movie and the book have in common are the words World War Z.
Yeah, being I haven't read the book there. I did watch the movie once, but I'm like, it was alright, I guess.
That book is very good, and it was one of those that the book, the way it was written, you had a hard time figuring out how they were going to make a movie, because the book is just interviews with like survivors of the zombie apocalypse.
Well, let this be a lesson to everyone that if you plan on watching movies, don't ever read books.
Don't ever read. Yeah, that's the lesson.
Just don't read.
My lesson would be don't ever watch a Steven Spielberg movie because he's garbage.
You're criticizing the Spielberg.
What has he done for me lately? Jurassic
Okay,
Park is one
Janet.
of the best movies ever made. And everything he's made in the past 15 years has been garbage.
No, I wouldn't say that.
It's garbage.
No. You go back and look at IMDb. I'm sure there's movies out there that are...
Oh, I looked this up before Ready Player One came out. Probably last time we were talking about me being scared of Ready Player One coming out.
Yeah, well, okay. So we're
Your
split.
thoughts on the movie?
We're split on Ready Player One.
Did you have any major thoughts on the movie other than it was fine?
I think, because I had seen some criticisms about, well, they had to bring back all this 80s stuff, and like, for people that haven't grown up with it, it's like, yeah, I can see that you don't really get it, but for like people our age, well, more me than you maybe, since I remember everything in the 80s. I mean, you're not that
I remember
younger,
essentially everything in the 80s.
but it was nice to see some of that stuff in there. And then they're like, yeah, it's all going back to that, but yet it's in the future. It's like, well, I mean, you do get those eras where people are going back to certain other eras in pop culture, and you can explain it that way. But.
Well, this was another big complaint about the movie that I don't necessarily have, but a lot of people had a really valid complaint that the book is about a guy who grew up in the 80s and is obsessed with the 80s. And so that's why all of the pop culture that these people, the Gunters, are interested in is the 80s. It's not like all of the world is obsessed with the 80s. It's just these idiots. But the movie, the problem is they decided that they needed to attract the youngins and put in their, Minecraft and Halo and all that stuff.
Yeah, there's some of that.
What you do then is you make this culture that somehow, stopped developing any new cultural icons in 2017. And it makes no sense. Why are they all interested in all of these things from 2017 to 1980? And there's nothing for the 20 or 30, I can't remember, years after that.
Well, I don't know if I'd really say that, because not everything was, recognizable.
Not to you. I guarantee everything in there is something, and you just don't know what anime or game or whatever it's from.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like the TV show The Expanse. Have you watched The Expanse? I can't remember.
Nope.
The Expanse does a pretty good job of, for a for a sci-fi, far-ish future show of actually having pop culture that isn't related to 20th century pop culture. It's not easy, right? But I think it is doable.
Yeah. And it's always hard to write about, future items or concepts that, basically it's in the future, but in a future movie where it's in the past and you're trying to kind of predict what's going to be out there.
Right.
It's a little tough to do.
So I looked up Steven Spielberg, and you're right. In the last 15 years, he
of
has
course.
made one fantastic movie, Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, clearly.
Oh, come on.
Oh, and War of the Worlds, also amazing.
Yeah, I never did
He's
see
terrible.
War of the Worlds.
It's so bad. It's not as bad as Indiana Jones.
There's got to be more out there than that.
The only one I see on this list, like Lincoln, fine. I don't really care about a docudrama sort of thing. I've heard good things about the BFG, but I haven't seen it. And given my feelings on Steven Spielberg, I don't know that I would even like it then.
Site cannot be reached. What the?
Haha.
Oh, come on. Did you break it?
Yes, I crashed Steven Spielberg's IMDb page.
Oh, come on.
Another movie that you probably didn't see, but I highly recommend, that I've seen since we last spoke. A Quiet Place.
I haven't seen that.
It is incredible. Like, I'm not at all a horror movie person. I feel like this movie kind of goes back to what used to be called horror, or what used to be good horror in like Aliens, that type of thrillery horror.
Okay.
And it's just very well made. The cinematography is incredible. The soundtrack, such as it is, or the lack thereof, is really, really, really good. I went in very dubious. I knew very little about it, except for John Krasinski, which isn't something that would ever sell me on a movie.
Yeah.
And if it's still in your theater there, totally worth it.
Yeah, I don't know if it is or not.
It's the premise of the movie. Do you know the premise?
Actually, I don't.
So the basic premise is that some mystery, I don't think they ever say what, these monsters, aliens, whatever, are on Earth, and they've wiped out essentially the entire human population, and they are sound sensitive. So it's kind of like Tremors.
Okay.
They're sensitive to sound, very, very sensitive, and so if you make noise above a very low threshold, they just come out of the woods or out of wherever they're at almost instantaneously. And and so it follows a family, very much sort of like Walking Dead style, where you're just following the people and you're worried about the people. And it's a family of Emily Blunt and John Krasinski, which I did not know before this, are actually married. So good job, John Krasinski.
Yeah.
But playing out of his league. But they're really fantastic together, and their kids, one of their kids is deaf, and she's sort of the central character. And the cool thing is the actress is actually deaf. And
Okay.
it does some really amazing cinematography tricks that I kind of don't want to spoil.
Huh. Okay, so I'm looking at IMDb here, finally.
Yeah.
Holy crap, he's got a lot of stuff that's, like, announced. That, doesn't have dates yet, but... Okay,
His last
so...
15 years record, not good.
Unfortunately, he's been involved in the Transformers stuff.
Oh, really? Yeah, that's really not good.
Executive producer. Bridge of Spies, that was good.
I don't know anything about it.
Actually saw that one in the theater, and it was that's with Tom Hanks and the guy that plays shoot, I can't remember names now. The the main programmer guy behind Ready Player One.
The main programmer guy.
Yeah. Shoot, what's his name?
I don't know who you're talking about. The main programmer. Oh, you mean like the guy who died?
Yeah.
I couldn't place that actor. I know I recognize him, but I couldn't place who he was.
Halliday.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mark Rylance. He actually plays the spy, so to speak. So they're making a spy exchange. You know, going from East and West Berlin, and yeah, he plays the communist spy that is being returned.
Gotcha.
But so maybe that rings a bell with some people. Anyways, okay, so we're divided on Ready Player One. Both seen Infinity War. I guess we're both okay with that one.
Yeah, I really liked it.
Okay.
I don't know that it was as good as Thor Ragnarok or Guardian of the Galaxy.
Well, understandably, with that many characters, there's a lot going on, so
yeah,
it kind of makes it harder. And then there was one movie I saw just Friday afternoon matinee showing, Super Troopers 2.
I heard such bad. I was so excited about it, and then I heard such bad things.
I mean, if you like Super Troopers, the first movie, you'd probably like the second one too. It's got that same type of comedy to it. You know, don't expect a good story out of it. It's like you're going in kind of expecting like a police academy type movie, and that's pretty much what it is. So it's good for some cheap laughs.
I can definitely wait till video. That's one of those that you're not losing anything by
Yeah.
seeing at home. Well, plus I have a 120-inch screen theater in the basement, so
there you
I'm not
go.
losing too much.
Yeah, I needed. Well, I was told to go and watch this movie by one of our listeners, Mike. Hey, Mike! Shout out to Mike.
Which one?
But yeah, I needed another movie to get my MoviePass, quota up there.
Right.
I need to find one more movie before the 17th. So.
I mean, if you can time it right, the Deadpool starts on the 17th. I think, like the evening of the 17th. So.
Yeah, 17th. Yeah, that is a Thursday. That's where I gotta look that one up now too. So, Deadpool 2 and opening day. My God, they did move it up, May 18th.
I know they have tickets on the 17th because I was on Fandango just a little while ago.
Yeah, I wonder if it's at the end of the day that they cancel me, or
guess you'll find out.
Or if it's during the day.
I would guess the end of the day.
Yeah, well, that'll be cutting it close.
Did you ever watch Rampage?
No, I didn't.
Again, I was excited and heard bad things, so I didn't see it.
Our friend Chad was wanting to go to that one, and it just didn't work out for going to a movie with him, I guess. But because we were gonna go see Pacific Rim too, and I'm like, well, I don't know, because I mean, yeah, I could, but I haven't even seen Pacific Rim 1, so.
Oh, well, you need to watch that.
There was one evening where he invited me and a couple other people over, and we had steaks and stuff on his grill, and then we watched Pacific Rim, the first
Did you
one.
like it?
It was all right.
It's
And-
not high quality filmmaking.
yeah, I mean it's kind of like the Transformers movies. You go into it for the special effects and not really a story or character.
Go into it to see one big robot hit another big robot with a boat, or hit a
Yeah.
monster with a boat, right?
There you go.
That's good stuff.
So yeah, we never did see the second one then. He was supposed to go along and go see Avengers with us, but that didn't work out for him, so I don't know if he's seen it yet or not. I think he was going to see that this weekend.
Well, if you're gonna go again, then go again.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got all day pretty much to do whatever. I don't know, maybe I can talk Corey into going this afternoon. Although I think it's a nice day out there today, so I might just go on a bike ride, and I suppose I could do a movie too. But my original thought was, if it's going to be crappy, I'm going to finally sit down and watch season 2 of Jessica Jones.
Gotcha.
But I don't think I'm going to get that far.
Do you think, and I don't know if there's an answer yet, do you think the MCU TV shows or Netflix shows are going to address Thanos?
Yeah, that's a good question.
I don't
Because
know
what they've done so far is just kind of made vague references to like very small things.
but you can't make a vague reference to half the people. on the team.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose they could get away with it if they have any shows that happen after
Right.
part 2.
I mean,
But-
they are going to, for sure.
Yeah, maybe they'll make some reference, but
And Todd
maybe,
hasn't
I
been
don't
into
know.
work for days. Or he's-
Well, I guess that brings us to our next group of topics, from movies to TV stuff.
TV. I didn't have as many of the TV topics, mostly because I don't watch many of the superhero TV shows.
Yeah, well, I've been. Flash has been a little frustrating, as has Arrow.
Yeah.
Just because it seems like. Well, I guess with both of them, it's like. They're kind of along a parallel type of storyline where they're both losing people as time goes on. And then at the end, it's like, I mean, they haven't had their season finales yet, but you're getting down to the point where, you know, it's like doom and gloom. So hopefully the season finale is like, get them out of this funk, and
Right.
you know, things kind of go back to normal.
It's hard when shows have to go through that arc.
Yeah. But I was pleasantly surprised by Black Lightning. I mean, Black Lightning, kind of a throwaway character as far as DC goes, but they made it work. And I guess it's on Netflix already. They had their, what was it, 13 episodes or whatever it was. And yeah, I was surprised at how quick it went to Netflix.
I mean, it's kind of fitting that all of these Marvel and DC TV shows kind of follow the same problem I have with comics, is that they come out too quickly and too many of them that I just don't even bother trying to keep up.
Mm.
There's too much. Once you miss one thing, then you're in the hole and you can't catch up.
Well, that's what Netflix is for. So you can go at
I
your
don't
own
have that kind of
pace.
time,
Well,
especially at the
I mean,
moment.
yeah.
Like,
I mean,
if try
I guess.
to get in, it's 20 TV shows to catch up on.
Yeah. I think maybe that's a reason why they still have Supergirl in her own universe, as opposed to kind of joining the Flash and Arrow universe,
That's interesting.
because Arrow and Flash being in the same universe, there's sometimes a cause and effect there, but there's got to be a special event happening for like Supergirl to come in as well. So you can watch Supergirl separately from Arrow and Flash and still have a concept of, I don't have to watch the others to know what's going on.
Yeah, I really like the idea. Like, I love the shared universe idea, but
Right.
it's the pace. It's kind of, yeah. I just can't keep up with things that go that regularly. I remember way back in the day, shortly after reading the Thrawn trilogy, there were not that many Star Wars books out at that time. I think the Han Solo, whatever it was called, Tales.
Yeah, Han Solo trilogy.
Yeah,
There was
things like,
I think there was a Lando trilogy as well.
and the Truset Bakura was one of the first
Yeah.
ones that came out, like one of the newer ones, and then it was just, it exploded. And I stopped reading them because for every one book I would read, 3 books would come out.
Yeah, and I didn't get into those until like a lot later. I guess the Throne trilogy I got not too long after they came out, but as far as the other books, yeah, I really didn't have time for books at the time, so I'm just like, yeah, I'll get to them when I get to them, and it was like 20 years later. But
No, they don't matter anymore. I read
yeah,
the Tron trilogy
exactly.
a couple of years ago.
Yeah,
It holds
for
up.
the first time, or
No,
just a reread.
A
Okay.
reread. I read
Yeah.
them shortly after, probably around the same time as you, like shortly after the whole set had come out.
Yeah.
Like I said, probably right around the time that Truce at Bakura came out.
Yeah.
What year is that now? I want to look this up. I need to know.
God, it's got to be like what, early 90s?
Truce at Bakura, 93.
There we go.
What's the last Thrawn book called? The Dark
Is it Dark Side Rising or something like that?
Dark Side Rising?
That doesn't sound right, but isn't that a Transformers movie?
It's Dark Force Rising. There we go.
Oh, okay. I was
You were
close.
close. 92, yeah, so see, perfect. Like, my memory holds up. I
Or Dark
started
Side of
reading
the
these.
Moon, that's what I was thinking. Okay.
I started reading the trilogy, and Truce at Bakura came out the year after Dark Force Rising.
Okay.
There we go.
Here we go. And I've been hearing good things about Lost in Space.
I've
Which
heard
is also
mixed
on
things,
Netflix.
but yeah, I'm curious.
More so than not, I'm hearing good things, I guess. But
I think a lot of these shows, like the Star Trek Discovery problem, is they go through like really, the episodes are very spotty, hit or miss, and that's kind of what I've heard about Lost in Space. You can have like a really good episode and then just a dreadful, stupid episode.
I guess both Corey and Chris Marler, that is, have watched Lost in Space, and Corey's view on it was it was decent, but he does not like the mother because the mother is like too much of a strong person, I guess. I guess he was expecting someone a little bit like
Well, you can't
the mother in the
rewrite
original
same
series.
characters. Yeah, I mean, she was a terrible character in the original series.
Yeah. She was like June Cleaver in the original series.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's Corey.
Parker. Yeah, yeah, fitting. I was just seeing who the actress was. I don't know who she is. Yeah, that one's intriguing. We've just been catching up. Did I tell you the last time we talked? I can't remember that we started watching the original series.
I'm not sure if you did or not, but
I finally started. only, whatever, 50 years too late.
Good
it's
luck.
Intriguing.
Good luck.
It's interesting. Thus far, like, there have been some good episodes. The one episode I just watched...
Okay, how far along are you into it?
I think one of the last ones we watched, I can't remember the title of it, but it's the episode that shows a lot of the footage from the pilot. And the problem is we had watched the pilot, and so then watching that episode, it was almost unwatchable because it's just like a, just a repeat with little interstitials. But then I looked online, and it's apparently regarded as one of the better episodes.
I would say up through end of first season, there's some pretty decent episodes there. You get into 2 and 3, and then it becomes like Batman 66, where it
really
just
bad.
gets so corny and so hokey. It's like, oh my god, it's a hard watch to go through those seasons.
Our frustration early on was that out of the first, 4 episodes, the bad guy was somebody like a kid with psychic power.
Yeah.
Great. That's the same. So the episode is the Menagerie that I was thinking of. So the Menagerie is a 2-part episode about, Captain Pike.
Right.
And if we had not watched the pilot, it might have been more enjoyable.
Yeah, I can see that. So.
But we're watching, I feel like every episode they cut, like, without telling her, I feel like the what's it called? The costume people, like, cut an inch off of Uhura's dress every time.
Yeah.
It just gets shorter and shorter every episode.
Maybe they did.
It's ridiculous.
So yeah, I have yet to watch Lost in Space, the new series, so another weekend.
I have yet to watch Discovery. I need to get through those.
Yeah, Discovery I went through, and it was alright, but like I had seen someone post, actually just today, they made some reference to Discovery, and they're like, yeah, that's what I miss about, the present day Star Trek is the optimism and such, and my Star Trek shows
Right.
in present day. It's just not there anymore. Where
Yeah,
you
that's
go into
sad.
Next Generation and such, it's like
That was the
you get done
entire
with the
point.
episode and like, yeah, it's still like, if I was transported into the future, yeah, I'd be okay with that. But now you looked at that and it's like, okay, you're transported into the Discovery era. It's like, screw that. I wouldn't want to be there. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that was one of the things that made Star Trek popular, was the positivity.
Right.
Speaking of which, totally unrelated to anything we'll talk about on this show, but I'll say it anyway. One of the things that we binge watched over the last couple months was The Great British Baking Show, which, that's
Okay.
all about positivity. And again, I mention it because in the same vein, I think it is very popular because you have these American, reality and cooking shows where it's all cutthroat and bombastic and loud and, everything is a challenge. And this one where everybody's friendly, they're helping each other, rooting for each other, and so much more enjoyable to watch.
Yeah, that'll be canceled pretty soon.
No, it's not.
There's no conflict. We need conflict in our
Americans
shows.
aren't making it, so of course it'll be fine.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Well, I was going to have a fan film of the month, but I just kind of blanked on going out and finding one.
Yeah, and I thought of something halfway through the month, and now I've completely forgotten it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So we'll have to skip it this month. And it's time for a commercial.
Kenner proudly presents Star Wars Electronic Battle Command, the computerized space battle game.
Enemy scan on. I see you. battle stations.
Red alert!
Star Wars Electronic Battle Command has computer scanners, force units, invisible shields.
Fire!
3 levels of play, basic, intermediate, and advanced.
My TIE fighter's hit.
Hey, Dad, let's play the basic game. You always get carried away.
Star Wars Electronic Battle Command from Kenner.
And we're back. Other news out there, now that, well, okay, you've got Wizard World conventions, comic conventions, and for some reason this year they decided to totally skip Minneapolis, and there's nothing on the docket for coming back to Minneapolis. So I'm like, what the heck? So a lot of the other ones in the cities have kind of stepped up. And I mean, I've been going to the MCBE Comic Con, Minnesota Comic Book Association. They do a good one at the state fairgrounds, like in the spring and in the fall. And yeah, the next one is coming up in 2 weeks. So I hope to be going to that. So I'm trying to save my money for comic books for that weekend. But, because yeah, Corey and I go to Toys R Us yesterday, and it's like, he's trying to talk
open?
for, what, another week and a half, I think it is.
Yeah.
But, yeah, he's trying to talk me into getting one of the remote control BB-8, that's like a, basketball size, like a foot high, something like that. Comes up to your knee, approximately. And I looked at a YouTube video of a demonstration. I'm like, God, this really does look cool. And it's down to like $93, $94, somewhere in there.
Yeah, this is what is that company that has... They started off by making just balls that you could remote control. Sphero, right?
No, that's the smaller one, but this is a larger one.
Okay.
It's like, I mean, it's still through, I think it's still through Hasbro yet. But it's in some other company that,
Gotcha.
yeah.
I think I
can't
have seen
remember.
it.
But it's like, I think the title of it is like BB-8 Hero Droid or something like that.
Gotcha.
But, yeah, it looked really nice, and I'm like, if I spend all that money, I won't have any money for Comic-Con. So I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna wait another week, and we'll see if they drop prices even further, like right before they go through liquidation.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
if they bring it down,
From most people I had heard, the sales were not terribly thrilling.
no, because they were expensive to start with.
Right.
So, yeah, like, well, a game we'll get into later. There was the Force Awakens version of X-Wing miniatures, and they had it there for, what, $45 roughly? And, I mean,
Or you
can
can
go
buy it off
to...
Amazon for $25 or something.
Exactly. I mean, you can even get it through...
At Target, had it.
Fantasy Flight Games has it cheaper than
That's hilarious.
the Toys R Us does, which is just wrong because...
So yeah, when I was talking earlier about these things coming at too fast of a pace, like the TV shows and the Star Wars books, the other one that falls under that category is anything that Fantasy Flight makes. The X-Wing and things like that, they just come out with so many that I gave up on keeping up with them.
Yeah. So...
I have a good candidate for not really fan film of the month, but I think this is what I was thinking about telling you when
Okay.
I thought of it. So, have you heard of this Turkish Star Wars knockoff?
I may have.
Recently they're going to be releasing an HD version of it.
Oh, jeez.
And I would love
Is
to
that
see
really
it.
necessary?
I'm gonna mispronounce this badly, but Dunyai Kurtaran Adam, the man who saved the world.
Oh boy.
And apparently this is a Turkish Star Wars movie where they totally stole like audio and like video clips and things from Star Wars.
Oh my god.
Somehow made this movie that's supposed to be unbelievably bad, but I need to find a copy of it.
Yeah.
Can that be a fan film if you totally rip off a movie for your own for your own profit?
That's a good question. Man. Oh yeah, Comic Cons. Okay, so the MCBA Comic Con that's coming up, the one in the fall. Hopefully, I plan to have a booth there myself.
Yes, is this the one you were talking about before?
Yep. So selling shots from figures in action there. And the nice part is that they like to get new people in there, and so they don't charge for tables. It's like awesome. That's what I'm looking for. Because yeah, I'm slowly trying to build up an inventory and the backdrop and everything for doing this. So just having that $100, $150, $200 expense for a table is just that makes it kind of tough. Which is what they were charging for Nerdin' Out Con, which is going to be Rochester's con here. And that's like the weekend after Labor Day. But yeah, Nerdin' Out Con, they've got some, not a lot of like huge names, but they do have names that you'd probably recognize. I mean, they're having the person that plays Mantis in Guardians of the Galaxy. They're going to have Sean Gunn. They're going to have, from Comic Book Men, Ming Chen. I'm like, yeah, it'd be nice to see him. Of course, I suggested Kevin Smith, but I think that's out of their league right now. But, Corey and I were talking about this yesterday, where we're like, because we haven't bought tickets yet. Mm-hmm. And we're like, we both feel the same way. We should get tickets anyways, just kind of make sure that it is a success, so they do have more, and it could get better in the future. So that's kind of the way I see it. So
you know what's really funny, wrapping this back around?
Yeah.
So Sean Gunn, I was looking to see what he was up to, so I went to IMDb.
Mm-hmm.
And you know who Sean Gunn plays in Avengers Infinity War? I'll say it's somebody we've already mentioned.
Does he do the movements for Rocket?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
okay.
On-set Rocket.
Yep. I was thinking that, but yeah.
There you go. That might be who Chris Hemsworth was acting against.
That could very well be.
Fun.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's our cons. There's another one. There's a. Oh shoot! I was gonna look this up too. Another big one in Minnesota where they actually have what's his name? The guy that plays Gimli.
Yes. John Rhys Davies.
There you go. Names just escape me in the morning and in the afternoon.
No age. Have you ever watched the old Shogun miniseries?
No, I haven't.
It's very good for one, but it's made in the 70s and it has John Rhys Davies in it in the late 70s, and he looks exactly the same.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Okay, the other one I was thinking of was which he's going to be at, is Minnesota Fan Fusion, August 3rd through 5th at the St. Paul River Center.
Okay.
Which I know I have that Friday off, and I was going to take someone out for lunch for their birthday that Friday, but that might change now. Sorry, got to go to a Comic Con.
What a good friend you are.
Maybe I'll be back later in the day. I can take that person out for supper instead.
There you go.
Okay, so yeah, talking about X-Wing miniatures, and I just looked this stuff up yesterday, and I was kind of surprised because, well, yesterday was Free Comic Book Day.
Right.
So, go to the book review in Rochester, get my free comics, and I'm like, well, he also had a sale, like 25% off, like a lot of the merchandise in the store. So I'm like, there's another opportunity to get another ship for X-Wing miniatures. So I bought a TIE Interceptor. And then, after getting home and kind of looking at, what future ships they're going to have, or what they have had, and what I would still be interested in getting. There was a section on their website about not Star Wars X-Wing miniatures, but just Star Wars X-Wing, and I'm like, okay, it's got the same like font type as far as X-Wing goes. It doesn't say miniatures down there. I'm like, well, what is this? So I go and look at it, and basically it is X-Wing Miniatures 2.0. It's the second version of the game. Which I'm like, okay. So as I'm looking into this, I'm finding out that, basically they did a 2.0 version of the game, which will be released sometime this fall, I guess. Because as they have come out with more waves of ships, and I think they're like on...
They've broken it, probably.
Yeah, it sounds like it's kind of broken. They're trying to fit in so many things that some of these ships do that it's like, okay, and then you got rules changes and stuff like that. And so supposedly 2.0 is supposed to bring all this stuff together and work it out. However, from the fan community, it's like, oh, there goes the whole game then, and it's like,
right.
Well, you could still play the first version of the game and not buy anything from 2.0 and still have it work, but
right. Well,
but they're all like, they want to play the most recent stuff and get all the additional ships that are going to come out and everything, and so they want to stay on top of it, and they're like, oh, the hundreds of dollars I put into this game, and no, it's all going to be worthless. Well, you can buy conversion kits. Conversion kits, however, are $50 per faction. So if you want to upgrade all your Rebel ships to 2.0, it's going to cost you $50. You want to...
That is ridiculous.
Upgrade all your Empire ships, another $50. Anything that falls outside of that, another $50.
Oh my lord!
And then you need the basic set. You have to buy the basic set over again.
Of course, because I
And
need a
that's-
whole new set of distance markers.
Yeah, and that's $40. So, well, and then it's got the rules in it too. So,
That's
so
the
yeah,
problem-
for someone that has, I mean, the only one I have from the non-Empire or Rebel ships is the Slave One. So I'm like,
yeah.
I don't
think
need
the
a
Falcon-
conversion kit. I
Doesn't
need
the Falcon have some whatever? I think it has one card for the neutral faction.
Yeah, maybe.
I can't remember.
It's been a while since I looked at it, but
Yeah,
I'm sure that
my biggest
being a
problem is-
Rebel ship predominantly, I'm sure that's in the Rebel conversion kit. But
I think the problem is that Fantasy Flight kind of treats these things like an American TV series where instead of just having like a nice set storyline of 3 seasons, they just want to keep bleeding it dry and run it into the ground. And when they started releasing these ships for, video games or random books or whatever that nobody's heard of,
Yeah.
why do that? Why not just stop? And then if you're going to make a 2.0, stop, give people a year to, to relax and enjoy their set, and then come out with a 2.0.
Well, the thing is, they're still going to release another wave from the first one yet.
Yeah, that's
It's like, well, who's going to buy those?
right.
'Cause, yeah, what was it? I was looking at those last night before I saw 2nd edition. Come on.
I think the only ships in the recent sets that I've been interested in have been related to Rebels, which, tons of people wouldn't be interested in at all because a lot of people have not watched Rebels. But
Oh, yeah, Wave 14. They have Saw's Renegades expansion pack, and then a TIE Reaper expansion pack, which,
are Rebels?
yeah, they're like pre-order, so they haven't been released yet.
I wonder how much, if you did the math, how much money it would cost to own just one copy of everything.
Yeah.
It has to be in the multiple thousands of dollars. I think.
Yeah, so, well, of course, each of those, well, let's see. Do they consider... Oh, yeah, they do. So they consider Saw's Renegades to be part of the Rebel Alliance one. So that would be in
The
the...
Rebellion didn't exist when Saw existed.
Well, there you go. Well, no. Because in Rogue One, they were the Rebellion.
Yeah,
just-
but he wasn't involved.
Well, he kind of was.
Not really.
But, yeah, it just seems odd they'd put out expansions for 1.0 when they've got 2.0 coming out here.
Yeah. On a similar note to Rebels, and this is going back in conversation a bit, but the new Star Wars cartoon series was announced.
Oh. I thought I had seen something, but I wasn't sure. I didn't really look into it.
Yeah, it's a much advanced time period. I think a lot of people thought it was just going to follow up off of Rebels, but it's actually... I can't remember the exact details, but I think it's sort of Force Awakens prequel-y time period. I think it's showing how the... what do they call it? It's not called the Rebellion then. What is it called?
Resistance?
Resistance, yeah.
Yeah.
Not Rebellion and the not Empire.
Yeah.
I think it's talking about how that came to be.
It could be interesting.
It's going to be, which may or may not be interesting. It's supposed to be Japanese animation inspired animation, not the CG that they were doing. Possibly, I wonder if it's similar art to the... Have you seen the Disney YouTube channel little vignettes?
No.
If you go to the Disney YouTube channel, they have 2 seasons of, I can't remember, maybe 10-ish episodes that are just little, like, 2 to 3 4-minute stories, animated, and some of them are pretty good. So worth checking out.
Alright. Yeah. Or maybe they could go with something similar to... Remember the original Clone Wars cartoons?
Yeah.
I actually have all those on DVD. But,
yeah, it's just a matter of how far they go with the Japanime inspired. The things
Yeah.
that try to mimic Japanese animation too much from American studios usually look like garbage.
yeah. All right then. Yeah, as always, we're going to have Travis join us, and Travis was too busy. It looks like Travis is participating in a few parades, from what I had seen from pictures yesterday. So that's probably why he couldn't come.
Are listeners convinced that Travis and I are not the same person?
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure.
Like Superman and Clark Kent.
Yeah. Yeah, they built one of the Imperial tanks from like Rogue One. The one that kind of gets blown up on wherever.
There's a lot of those in Rebels as well. A lot of similar looking things.
But that tank looks pretty sweet. Oh my gosh. So I couldn't tell. Maybe I think he's one of the tank drivers.
Very nice.
Or maybe he's just on the tank. But it's kind of funny that one of the pictures that was posted from the same parade had this big inflatable Cookie Monster, holding onto a cookie in one hand and a bunch of cookies in the other arm, and then the huge inflatable balloon thing in front of it. It looked like not really another Muppet, but something similar. But it was like, it almost looked like it was like bending over, where its head was close down to the ground, and Cookie Monster's eyes, you follow the eyes, and it's like, what is Cookie Monster looking at?
There are quite a few of those things out there. If you look for like parade balloon or parade balloon porn, there are quite a few times where things like that have happened.
Oh boy.
I have a great image from Japan where they had in a toy store where they have just shelves full of action figures. They had two of the action figures set up in a way that was not really the wisest.
Oh yeah, you see some of that stuff. Yeah. Yep. Well, on that note,
what a good note to end on.
yeah. So that's been Flamecast for April, even though it's May. So yep. Again, Todd Pletz.
And Todd Pletz. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah. That's Wes Swingley for people who are uninformed. And that is a wrap.
That's a wrap.